Good morning, good morning, good morning, beautiful, blessed people of God. Happy Thursday. Happy Thursday to each and every one of you. It's funny how every time, well, I shouldn't say every time, but most times, for sure, most times, I get up here to do the live stream and I instantly get sleepy. I get sleepy. Now, I could have been up for hours. I could have just gotten up and be bright eyed and bushy tailed. And the minute I come to hit the live stream, that's when I start feeling sleepy, drowsy. You got to look at the subtle attacks. Very subtle, very, very, very subtle. But I yield. I am here as God's daughter. I'm here. I yield to the Holy Spirit, whatever voice they want to put to whatever today's message is. I'm here for it. So I say good morning to each and every one of you. I've got my calendar open, making certain that I'm getting everything done that needs to get done. And again, those subtle distractions, subtle hits, subtle attacks. I am vigilant. I am vigilant. I got up to do payroll. The system is lagging this morning. So I am vigilant of these very subtle attacks to get you to over expend your energy trying to force something to go the way in which you need it to go. And all I can say is I yield. I do not yield to the enemy. I do not yield to the powers of darkness. I yield to my heavenly Father, my Abba, who art in heaven. That is who I yield to. There is no stress. There is no um, force. There is no force. I do not have to force anything on this day. I go in flow. My God is flow, and I walk, live, breathe, exist in his flow. So the subtle attacks I bear witness to, and I cancel it because I have the power and authority to cancel it. And I declare and decree that I operate in flow, ease and flow. To God be the glory. So all little things, technical difficulties, whatever, blah, blah, blah. All of those things are under my feet. Everything gets done in the time that the Lord designs it to go. And so I yield. And so today is Thursday. I am up. I do have things to do. Oh, but I do have a little downtime, and I feel like I do need to take a little nap before I get myself up and stirring. I don't have a whole lot of time, but I got a little bit of time before I have to be where I have to be this morning. And I'm grateful. I keep looking at the calendar. I keep looking at it because I want to just make sure that I'm up to speed. You know how sometimes you might feel like you're up to speed with things and then something kind of sneaks out of the woodworks. So I keep double checking to make certain that I'm on track. But it does appear to be correct that I am indeed on track. So we're going to take it as a win. Shout out to God for the small victories on this day. I do have to remind myself to send out 2 emails this morning because they were due yesterday. And people kill me sending out emails talking about something is due the day. Dude, like, do not send me an email talking about something is due today when you're sending it to me today. Like, you got to give this girl a couple of days advance notice. You can send out a reminder that it's due today, but you can't send me an email and say blah 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 is done due today, and send it today. That's insanity. Because I don't operate like that. Honestly, I just don't. I operate with um, advance notice, and then a reminder, and possibly a second reminder. And it's not because anything is less important to me. That's not the case. The case is perimenopause. Period. Uh, period. It's perimenopause. So perimenopause um, likes to say, Shaniqua, you ain't got nothing to do. And Shaniqua will be like, I think we do have stuff to do. And perimenopause be like, no, we don't have nothing to do. And so I just be all entangled in her yelling, we don't have nothing to do. We don't have nothing to do. We don't have nothing to do. So yeah, I do need those reminders, but you can't tell me the day of that something is due, because it just won't get done. It just doesn't operate like that anymore. And I'm no longer in this place in the space that I contend with it, right? Because I go in ease and flow. And I no longer beat myself up for things that was not done. So whether they made it to the to-do list or not, if it didn't get done, it didn't get done, right? There's nothing that I can do about it. There's nothing that I can go back. I don't have a time machine that I can hop back in and go back and redo something that wasn't done. And so in this season, especially with walking with perimenopause, grace, his grace is sufficient. So I walk in the sufficiency of his grace. Glory to God. I walk in the sufficiency of his grace. And we are not in the season where we are going to make it a habit of beating Shaniqua up. Just not going to do it. You know why? Because she's pretty cool, and she's pretty gentle and mild mannered. And we like to keep it that way, right? We don't like to do things to her that disrupt her, disturb her peace, and then she goes to war with herself. So we are no longer about the going to war with thyself. Those days are over. And so we go with the ease and the flow. Good morning, sis. Blessings to you. And oops, that just reminded me that there was a message going back and forth that I was supposed to respond to. But perimenopause said I ain't had nothing to do, so I ain't do nothing. And thank you for my reminder. Right there it goes. Right, what can I do but just laugh about it, right? So yesterday was, I didn't have a whole lot to do yesterday. I wasn't like super duper busy. Yesterday I did go out. I did have a client to see. But perimenopause, she made herself known yesterday, and she kind of had my brain in a clutch. She had me in a chokehold. The brain was in a chokehold. And I was trying to do my paperwork. I really honestly was trying to do my paperwork. But Perry was like, no, you don't have anything to do. And so I could not focus. I could not focus on my paperwork. And I didn't have that much to do, right? There have been days where I have had a lot of paperwork to do, but I did not have a lot to do yesterday. And I just could not seem to get my thoughts wrapped around it. And yes, that's a problem for me. I don't appreciate that. I don't like that. I like to be able to do my stuff and get my stuff done. But there are some days you just simply have to yield, right? I just didn't know what was going on with my brain. I was so tired. And I told myself, I said, you probably should have just come home. And as soon as you felt tired, you probably should have just taken a nap. but I didn't. And then I started looking at the clock and I was like, girl, if you go to sleep now, you know you in trouble, for the nighttime. Because I'm not one of those people. Some people can sleep at night, take a nap during the day and sleep at night. I really wish I could be like that, but it don't always work out for my favor. But I just could not focus. All I wanted to do like was scroll on social media. Like that's all I had the mind capacity for, was to scroll on social media, to play my game. My little game I play on my iPad. Like that's literally all I had the mind capacity to do. Everything else was like, what are we doing? We don't have nothing to do. You don't need to do that, right? And so that's basically the way my minds went. I went into miscellaneous thought process, and I just could not kick myself out of that mode. Now, one of the ways in which I know I could get myself out of that mode is to snack. I can get myself out of that lack of focus mode by snacking. Um, primarily, primarily, it's the sugar, right? So if I had had some cookies yesterday, if I had had ice cream, cake, pies, anything like into that, anything sugar filled, chocolate, yeah, I would have been able to focus, right? Because the sugar would have then taken control over my brain. You guys, I'm sure you all have seen like the advertisements or infomercials or whatever, the effects of sugar on a lab rat, right? So when they have the rats or mice, whatever they are, when they have them in the lab, like, and they give them white sugar, they start acting as if they are drugged, right? And they're doing these abnormal things that they would not normally be able to do or have the brain withal to do. They start doing silly things, like they'll start trying to like walk into a wall. Like, dude, you can't walk through walls. Like, what are you doing? But the sugar in their little mice rat brains tells them, this doesn't make sense. I need to go on the other side. I'll just keep banging into the wall until I go through it. So it gives you like these supernatural capacities, thinking that you have like these supernatural capacities that don't really truly exist. And that's the same way sugar reacts to our brain. Like it tells us like, oh, we can do everything. Like, so it would have combated Perry saying, no, you don't have anything to do. It would have been like, yay, we can do it all. We can do everything. And I would have been able to get the paperwork done. But sugar is like cocaine. It's as lethal as cocaine in our system. And it doesn't necessarily feel like that because we've grown accustomed to it. But because I try to go periods of time without it, I begin to notice a difference. So I know what my body feels like when I've had sugar, and I know what it feels like when it doesn't have sugar. And truth be told, I can tell the difference, right? You get that high feeling, you get that good feeling, but then you do start to come down, and there is a difference. And these days, the craving, so normally I would get a craving for sugar, but these days the craving has not been there. Now, I don't know if it's because of the mushroom coffee. I think that's one of the things the mushroom coffee says that it does, that it can help curtail that sugar craving, possibly. I'm not 100% on that, but it could be that. Could be the spirit of the Lord. I don't know. It could be the fact that I have extra information that I know it's no good for me. So my body is finally getting into alignment to say she now is conscious that it's no good for her, and she's purposefully staying away from it. And so my body is reacting to it, so I don't even crave that. And one of the other things that I've done to combat, and this sounds like a Wellness Wednesday topic, but one of the things that I've done to combat that sugar craving is, for one, not to keep the sugar stuff in the house. Now, I do have some cinnamon rolls. I recently bought some cinnamon rolls, like, the ones in the can. So we have that. We do have the cookie dough that you refrigerate. We do have that. But that's for the young people. And so because that's theirs, like I'm like, I don't need it. I don't crave for it. They have bought these chocolate chip cookies and cream cookie dough, something like into that. And they were raving how good it was. But something in my brain was just like I don't need that. So even though it's in there, I'm not like, oh, let me try, let me taste it. And I actually think they had baked some cookies the other day and they saved me one. I see this like one cookie just kind of lingering around. I believe they probably saved it for me, but I just don't even crave it. And that's a good thing, right? Because my body does not need that. Even though Perry was saying, you know, some sugar would have settled me down. Like if I would have eaten the cookies, I would have settled down and I would have been able to do my work. But I've tried to get into the habit of not buying those things. Luckily, like the kids will eat something different than what I like. So if they have their stuff in the house, it doesn't affect me because it's like, that's not my jam. That's not what I like. My problem is when they buy the Oreos and they buy the big thing of Oreos and the Oreos are just sitting around and nobody's touching them. And then I'm like, oh my goodness, I gotta help the community and I gotta help start eating these Oreos. But I've been doing good with that. And another way that I've done to combat those sugar cravings is one, not buying the stuff that like the sugary stuff that I like, but then two, buying the substitutes. So I do have dried pineapple. Oh my goodness, Perry. I have a pineapple on the table that I do need to cut because it's starting to get too ripe. So I need to cut it and either throw it in the freezer or eat it. So, but I do have fresh fruit. So that's one of the things that combats that. I have a fresh pineapple. I have fresh strawberries. I was eating strawberries. I did do chocolate covered strawberries, but I had the fresh strawberries. I do have fresh blueberries in the house. Um, I have fresh oranges in the house. And so when I find that when I do want a snack, having the healthier snacks helps me. It helps me. However, it did not tame Perry. Perry was like, no, we need sugar. And I was like, no, we're not taking in sugar. And so I just let Perry take control over my mind. And even if I was reminded of doing something, I didn't do it. So I think Perry is related or she works really, really well. She might be dating procrastination. Just so you know, Perry and procrastination might be dating because I really just didn't get stuff done. Like there are people that I need to call, there are things that I need to do, and I just didn't have the brain capacity to do any of it. Even to pick up the phone, even to do the simplest things. I just did not have the brain capacity to do that. And I gave in, right? I yielded to perimenopause yesterday and I played my game. I scrolled on social media. I did a whole bunch of miscellaneous things. I did do some graphic design for my podcast because today is Thursday. Okay, do not forget today is Thursday. So the Black Girl Encourage Her comes on today. And today is a special edition. Tonight's edition is actually a little longer in length. So I just want to let you all know that. It is longer in length because it is a panel discussion. This is my first ever, well, not my first ever, but for the Black Girl Encourage Her, this is the first ever panel discussion. And I'm super, super excited about that. And when I tell you, listen, Linda, Nyenye, Carol, like whoever's listening, I just want to tell you, especially for my ladies who are dating, right? Especially for my ladies who are dating. And I'm even going to go out on a limb here because I know Nyenye's on the line and she's married. She's a marriage coach. I know Nyenye, she's a marriage coach. And she's doing a segment on love, and are you ready for love, coming up in March. So you guys got to keep a watch on her page for that. But I do believe tonight's episode will even be beneficial for married women. If you step out of the scope of, oh, I'm married, I'm not out in these streets dating people, but you look at it more so along the lines of um, dating your spouse, dating your significant other, um, you will be able to gain clear insight, right? I think sometimes people put on these blinders and they're like, oh no, that content's, they're talking about dating, that content's not for me. Well, there is something very, very unique that you can gain from hearing this conversation tonight. I truly do believe that. Um, and many people, even those who are married, those who are not looking for relationships, this conversation on dating will even help you when, as it pertains to yourself, because many people do not know how to date themselves. And that is actually the season the Lord has me in. Um, he's reawakening that dating myself. Now, I do go places by myself. I travel by myself. I've been a number of places by myself. I will get on plane. I will get in hotel room. I don't need anybody else for my social engagement. And I'm not that type of a person that I will stay in the hotel room. Like, when I went to Texas, I literally went to Texas by myself. I stayed in my hotel room by myself. Yes, I was there for a purpose. I had, activities scheduled for me to do. I had a speaking engagement. I had other things that I was there to do. So I had an agenda, but I didn't just sit in the hotel room. I got a rental car, right? I got myself a rental car and I was riding around the streets of Texas. Okay. So I can hang out with other people, but then I also was able to hang out with myself. And so I think tonight's conversation would also be beneficial for you to understand dating yourself, right? And how to do that purposefully. So tonight's conversation is going to be extra, extra good. It kind of piggybacks a little bit from last week's conversation on the Love Her edition, where we had Chrissy Yarborough came on and she started talking to us about her experience with online dating. But this time around, we're talking about just dating in general. And we've got a mixed panel. So we've got some familiar faces coming on, but we got a little blended mix, and it's going to be really, really good. And so tomorrow, when I meet you all here tomorrow, that's what I'm going to be talking about. I'm going to be talking about possibly the episode tonight. So I want you to make sure that you're front and center so you can get the nuggets. Yeah, you know what? I think sometimes we shut ourselves off, right? We shut ourselves off from the nuggets, the things that we can gain, and preparation. Right, preparation. God is a God of preparation. He puts these things in place. Step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. He's very, very strategic. And so, if we don't get the wisdom, if we don't get the insight, if we don't get the spiritual insight, if we don't get our ducks in alignment, then we're going to miss the bigger picture. That's why many people don't gain the bigger picture until later on, because they have closed themselves off from the information, right? We use discernment with the information that comes in, but we definitely don't want to put blinders on so that we don't know what's going on. And I don't know about you all. Good morning, Ronnie. I don't know about you all, but anytime I happen to come across something, anytime the Lord has me stop to see, I never take it as a coincidence. If I see a post, if I see a conversation, if I watch something, I never take it as a mere, coincidence. I'm always looking at a situation as a lesson. Like, okay, Lord, you brought my eyes to this. What's the lesson in it? You stopped me here. I had this encounter today. what is the learning experience from it? So when you look at God as the teacher, right? We know Jesus is the master teacher. When we and I think sometimes we forget that, right? We forget that Jesus was the master teacher. He is the teacher of all teachers. And so when we have that encounter, any encounter, I'm always like they say, what will Jesus do? I'm on that. What's the lesson, Lord? Like, what's the lesson that I'm supposed to gain from this? So even if I'm just there supporting, I'm like, oh well, I just want to support, Nayenye. She's doing her love challenge. I just want to support her. I'm just there to support her. Yeah, just because you're here to support somebody, you never know what nuggets is gonna bless you, because you go in with, oh, I'm just here to support. Oh, I'm just here for this, that, and the other. But then you might miss your blessing, right? So it's nice that you want to go places, you want to do things, you want to be a support system. Sis boom bob to you, because that is me, right? Good morning, Joyanne. But I am all for, what's the lesson, Lord? What's the lesson? Right. And so I do believe that there's going to be some lessons that you all will gain from tonight. I know Ronnie can attest to that. That there were some nuggets that were going to be dropped, that's going to be shared. And I want you all front and center with your notepads, your pens, and that you can collect all of these goodies. Even if these are not goodies for right now, I think these are goodies. These are your breadcrumbs that will be beneficial for your next steps of journey, whether you're dating yourself, whether you're dating other individuals, or whether you are dating God, whether you are dating your spouse. I do believe it can be beneficial. So we are definitely like, that's right. What's the lesson, Lord? And we're gonna gain some good gems. And I know this to be so. I can stand on that promise, one, because I've already seen the episode. Y'all know I pre-record, right? So that we can be in the live chat. At 7 p.m. tonight, we can be in the live chat and we can conversate. Because one of the things that I've learned during perimenopause is that I have to stop being the queen of the multitask. I've been telling myself that I am the queen of the multitask. I will be working on, paperwork. I will be sending out invoices. I'll be text messaging somebody. I'll be in the DMs with somebody else. And it's like perimenopause is like, no, 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 no. You need to stop the multitasking. And you know what? She is 100% correct. She is 100% correct that I need to stop the multitasking. And so the whole, trying to live record and read chats, that's not my forte. And so I pre-record so that we all will be able to um, you know, have this conversation in the chat box. So, but I was saying that I know that this week's episode is going to be a blessing, not only because I've seen it already. Like I was live, and I'm so mad. I've got to prepare myself properly for next time. Not going to beat me up, but um I really do need to start recording the behind the scenes, because the behind the scenes be almost hotter than the actual recorded message. But we will have to definitely do it again, and get all of the nuggets, the tea, whatever you want to call it. We got to share it because people do need to know. But I can stand on the fact that tonight's episode of the Black Girl Encourage Her, the Love Her edition, will bless you, not only because I've seen it. I know the people who are on my panel discussion, I know what they're going to say, but also because I prayed. I prayed before even starting the recording of the Love Her edition, because it was indeed something new, right? It was indeed something new. And even though I love new, when I do like spin-offs and special editions, like that motivates me. I enjoy that. but it was something about what I like. The reason why the Love Her series came out, it wasn't just because it was on for February, right? For Valentine's Day and all of that. It wasn't just because of that, but it was the season that I was in. So somewhere around mid January, the Lord started to focus on love, right? God is very strategic. He's not really the spontaneous. We always think that the blessings came out of nowhere, but he's not a spontaneous God. Like, this stuff is lined up, is planned out since the beginning of time. So when we were in our mother's womb, he already had the storyline planned out for us. And so he's very, very strategic. And so in January is when he started to really, turn the dials on me and say, okay, we got to shift your focus just a bit. He knew the desires of my heart. He knows the desires of my heart. And I can just stand it on it, right? I can leave it there. Like, he knows, there is no doubt about what the desires of my heart are. I don't even necessarily have to keep going over and over and over and over again with him, but he knows because I've said it. So we're clear, I've said it. But he started before February. He started with the whole self-love. You are love. You guys, and the ones that really, really follow me, if you really open your eyes, or if you go back and scroll, you can go back on my social media page and you scroll back on Facebook and you see, like, around mid-January, where my language started to change. My posts were different. Unfortunately, the stories disappear, but I did a lot in my stories where I had to begin to recognize who I am. So I can't just up free willy-nilly jump up and say, oh, I'm ready for love, when you don't even know what love is. So God had to strategically start to put the breadcrumbs out to turn the pieces of the puzzles so that they start to fit together, where he had to redefine what love was. And so when I entered into this series, the Love Her series, for the Black Girl Encourage Her, he started teaching me about love. And so each episode has been unique in its nature. Dr. Marisha Sherman came on the first episode, and she came from an agape love. She came from, self-love and emotional intelligence. Like, so she helped to kind of like set the tone. She gave scripture, it was biblically sound. And so we got that, area covered. Check that box off. And then we had Jamel Huey come on, knowledge, right? He came on and he broke it down to the science of love, the concept of love. We deep dived into it, and I still got to get back into his book. As soon as the Lord, says go, I'm going to dive back into it. Because it was about getting a deeper understanding of love. It was about examining love. It was about removing what we know love to be and then putting on a different lens. Right? Perspective is everything. Perspective is everything. And then, no, the series is actually, it's my podcast, The Black Girl Encourager. It's going to be on YouTube. So if you go on YouTube, Shaniqua Inspires, you'll be able to see all of it. All of the episodes, because YouTube, after 30 days, YouTube wipes all the videos out. And so Facebook wipes it out after 30 days, but YouTube stores it for now. YouTube stores it. So everything goes onto YouTube. My YouTube channel, Shaniqua Inspires. And so we got the foundation. We got a different perspective. We were able to take off the lens of what we know love to be. And then we had some fun. Chrissy came on. We had some fun. We talked about online dating. So now we got more specific, right? We got more specific, talking about online dating and what the takes are with that. And then this week, we are going to top it off. We're just going to talk about dating in general, not so specific with online, but we're going to have a great panel discussion about it, right? We're going to have a real raw adult conversation about dating. And so I actually am so motivated, like that recording that episode, this panel discussion that you all will watch tonight. It got me so hyped that I want to do more, right? I want to do more conversations like that because I do believe it is needed and it is necessary. And so make certain you set your alarm clocks for 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for the Black Girl. Encourage her, the Love Her edition. But God is definitely doing what was asked. So when I prayed before venturing into the Love Her edition, the Lord had already fulfilled the promise before the prayer even released. Now that's a strategic God. That's a strategic God. To be able to answer the prayer before the prayer is even released. He's just good like that. Amen. I agree, Ronnie. I agree. So tonight is going to be super special. And the way Perry was acting up last night, I'm definitely going to set my alarm clock because who would miss it tonight? Not I. So I think I might even have to set my alarm clock just in case Perry starts to show her behind, because she showed her behind yesterday. She was like, nope, play the game. You ain't got nothing to do. Scroll on social media, chill out, especially because I wouldn't give her no chocolate or anything. So I ate healthy yesterday, right? I had tea. I had my hibiscus tea. I think I even had some black tea yesterday, but I did have my hibiscus tea with my cinnamon and my oranges in it. I use orange peel, cinnamon, and ginger in my hibiscus tea. And so I had that yesterday, and that literally took the sweet craving from, like, I didn't need nothing sweet, right? I had a banana yesterday, fresh banana, right? So I didn't need anything. I didn't need anything sweet. And so when I don't need it, when I don't have the craving for it, I'm not going to eat it. Right? So I indulged perimenopause last night, so I didn't get much done. And then this morning, I set my alarm clock. I set my alarm clock, and I got up this morning and I finished my paperwork. And it didn't take me no time because I didn't really have that much to do. But Perry just wouldn't focus yesterday. That girl would not focus. And so because we could not focus yesterday, we didn't get the paperwork done yesterday, but we did do the paperwork today. And so we got that done. And I have to take advantage of the morning momentum. Perry doesn't really bother me too much in the morning. I think because I've got a schedule, right? I have a schedule. I have a to-do list. I go, I do, boom, boom, right? But then it's later in the afternoon. It's like when I get back home, Perry's like, can I come out and play? And I'm like, I really don't want to play with you today, Perry. And that's exactly what I'm going to tell her today. I'm like, girl, I don't really want to play with you today. But if she comes, if she hangs out, I mean, what can a girl do? I'm going in the flow. I'm not trying to fight. I'm not trying to fight Perry. Okay. I do want to get her at bay, but I do not want to fight her. And I had to laugh at myself yesterday because I was so tired, right? I just felt like I couldn't focus because I was so tired. And I was like, girl, you should have just laid down and take a nap. But I didn't, right? And so I finally made it. I didn't have to cook because I had leftovers. To God be the glory. I had made some fried catfish and some French fries the other day, and so I had leftovers, so I didn't have to worry about that. And so I ate dinner. I was fine. And then finally, it was about like 8:30. I was like, "All right, Perry, we haven't focused on nothing." I was like, "Let's just go to sleep. Let's go ahead and just settle the brain and just go to sleep." So I came in the room. I put on some music, right? This little smooth, it's not really jazz, but it's like a little smooth jazz R&B kind of mix. No vocals, just instrumental. And I put that on. turned off the lights, and I just settled down. And you'd have thought I would have fell asleep. Here come Perry showing her behind. Like, nope, we not sleeping. Insomnia. I think perimenopause is a hoe. I just had to say that. I think she's a hoe because she's with procrastination. She's with insomnia. That girl get around. Look, she dating. She dating for sure. Maybe I shouldn't call her a hoe. Maybe she's just dating, right? Maybe she's dating. I don't know if she got a purpose or not. But perimenopause is dating procrastination, and she's dating insomnia. I don't even know who else she dating, but she dating a whole lot of folks right about now. But I can't say I'm mad at her. I might be a little jealous, but Perry got her some. She got her some boo things for sure because she tried to lay up with insomnia last night. But me and ashwagandha and melatonin, me, ashwagandha, and melatonin we had to tame Perry and her insomnia boyfriend. We had to get him out the house. We was like, nah, he cannot hang around tonight because we got things to do tomorrow, and we don't need him hanging out on all night long. so so me and ashwagandha and melatonin, we took care of Mr. Insomnia real good. And so here we are, bright-eyed and bushy-tailed this morning, ready to go out, ready to do what the Lord has me to do today. And I do have to make mention of this. So yesterday's conversation was really, really good, right? And if you missed yesterday's conversation, in fact, I want to say the Lord has been showing something in every message lately. In every message lately, He's really been doing a good job. Yes, ma'am. I took ashwagandha and melatonin. I don't know if that's what you meant by both, but yes, we took them both. Yes, we did. To God be the glory. And now I don't know if you're supposed to take them both, but I took them both. To God be the glory. And they worked. They worked. And so one of the things that like the Lord has really been doing something really, really good. And he's been showing me some things. So if you missed yesterday's message was pretty good. If you missed yesterday's message, you can get it on my YouTube channel or you can get it on my Facebook page. So if you just scroll up or scroll down, whichever way it goes, on my Facebook page, it's there. But it's only going to be on Facebook for 30 days. So, okay. And so yesterday's conversation was really good. And I went out yesterday to see a client. And I went out, I saw the client. I took it easy because it was snowing yesterday. I didn't know what it was going to look like on the roads or whatever, but I took my time. I made it there. It was all good. And I was having this lovely conversation with a client, and she said something to me towards the end of our conversation. And she says, "Nobody has ever talked to me the way you did." She was like, "Nobody has ever talked to me the way you did." And all I can do was just thank God. Because honestly, I don't think I did anything spectacular. I didn't do anything special, according to me, according to the world, right? Because that's a worldly thought. So according to the world, I didn't do anything special. I didn't spend any extra time with her. So normally where I'm out with the people for an hour, I didn't stay with her an hour and 30 minutes or anything. Like I didn't give her any extra time. Um, I honestly didn't say anything that I wouldn't say to anybody. Like I'd say it to everybody, anybody. It doesn't matter. So the world would make me think I didn't say anything special to her. But she made it a point of reference to make certain to say that I had said something special. And the spiritual part of me recognized and understood that I did indeed say something special. And all I could do was thank God for using me in such a way. And when I had pulled up to where she was, I was looking for parking, and a lot of the parking was reserved for like the resident parking. And there was a young man standing out front, and I rolled down my window and I asked him about parking. And at the end of our conversation, he says to me, he is like, "Well, you'll need to talk to the guy inside. Um, the doorman. You'll need to talk to him." And he says to me, "I'm just the porter." And I complimented him, and I went on to speak to who I needed to speak to and got what I needed and went on about my way. But those words that he spoke to me, "I'm just the porter. I'm just the porter. I'm just the porter." They stuck out to me. They stood out to me. And the reason why they stood out to me, because the words do have power. There is power in words. You may not think that your words have power because the world tells you they do not. But the world does indeed know that words indeed have power. So it likes to convince you that your words are meaningless, that you're just the porter, that you're just a servant of God, that you're just the CNA, you're just this, right? Where we begin to minimize who we are. But those words that he said to me stuck with me. And if I had seen him when I left out, I would have spoke life into him, because he was not just the porter. Thank you, Jesus. He was the first responder. He was the first angelic responder. He was the first angel to respond. Because it was through my conversation with him, I knew that I could speak to someone higher. I knew that I could get what I needed because he was the first step to getting there. The blueprint, the strategy. First, you speak to him, then you speak to him, then you get what you need. Step 1, step 2, step 3. Oh, I'm just the porter. You can't skip steps. God is strategic, and you cannot skip steps. You got to go through what you got to go through. You got to encounter what you got to encounter so that you can get on to the next and the next and the next until you get to where you're destined to be. So as you go about this day, I don't want you to say, "Oh, I'm just this." I don't want you to believe that any encounter, any connection, anything that God brings you to, you need to say, "Lord, what's the lesson?" And the lesson that I received yesterday through simple day-to-day conversations, connections, nothing spectacular, no bells and whistles, nothing magical in the making, but powerful in the essence. You just might be the first responder. You just might be the first angel to respond to a person. The lady that I spoke with yesterday, she had questions. I did not have the answers. The questions she had, I could not answer. Oh, I'm just the porter. But I was the first angel to respond. Quick lesson on angels. Angels, as we see them in the Bible, as we know them in the Bible, are messenger. They're messenger angels that will come and tell you something, like Gabriel. This one that I do know the name, that brought a message. Like, so Gabriel came, I believe it was Gabriel that came to Mary to let her know that she was pregnant. Might have been, yes, was the same angel that visited Zechariah to tell him that his wife was with child. And so the angels bring a message. So sometimes angels have the message that you need. They have the answer. They have the response. They have we know the yay and the amen, but the angels grab hold to the yay and the amen, and they are the reporters. They are the messengers. But we also know angels to be encouragers, right? We know them to be protectors, right? They guard, they protect, but they are also encouragers, or encourage her. You think the name of the podcast, The Black Girl Encourage Her, was just something catchy. You thought it was something, oh, Shaniqua just came up with that. That's cute. No, I didn't even know. God is strategic. He knows. Because if you notice, when I started to rebrand, around about the time when I started the podcast, when I first started The Black Girl Encourage Her, I bounced between segments. It was, I did The Black Girl Encourager first in February. Then I think we did The Black Girl Motivate Her. We did The Black Girl Inspire Her. And then I went back to The Black Girl Encourage Her, because that was the one that fit. That was the title that resonated with me. But at the same time, when I was coming up with that, that's when I rebranded my name, because I used to be Shaniqua Johnson RN. But then when the Lord told me, and then it came to pass that I was no longer going to be identified as Shaniqua Johnson RN. When the RN dropped and the DR came in the front of the name, it was just conflicting. And I began to have conversation with God about my whole name. And so that's when the branding idea, Shaniqua Inspires, because as much as I love when people say, well, Dr. Shaniqua Johnson, that's all fine and good, but it ain't going to stay that. It ain't going to stay Dr. Shaniqua Johnson forever. Not after her Love Her edition. Are you kidding me? Not with the nuggets that I picked up along the way from these episodes. You must be kidding me if you think the name will stay Dr. Shaniqua Johnson forever. And every plot that tries to make it so, it ain't gonna be so. So you might as well just stop. So the Lord gave me Shaniqua Inspires, because it's what I do. So I made it my name. But the Black Girl Encourage Her still stuck. And encourage. So you would have thought that the podcast would have, the one that would have stuck would have been The Black Girl Inspire Her, with Shaniqua Inspires, right? Makes sense. Makes sense. But not according to God's strategic steps. It's the Black girl, encourage her. Because I just might be the first angel to respond in bringing forth words of encouragement. Because that's what angels do. That's what I just got today. I didn't know this 3 years ago when we were no, I didn't know. No, that's a today's download. So you never know today. The Lord put you in that place. You had to go to that place. You had to encounter those people. Well, what's the lesson? What part of the steps is this? And depending on how you respond, you may just be the first responder. You might be the first angel on the scene. So don't diminish who you are and what you do and what you bring to the table. No matter what title the earth wants to give you, the world wants to give you, no matter what title, no matter what degree, no matter what job position you hold, you just might be the first responder. Like Mr. I'm just the porter. No, baby, you was the first responder. You was the first angel to respond to my answer, to my prayer before it even went up. Because God is just good like that. And so I ask that the Lord will bless him abundantly for what it is that he did. And the words that I was able to speak to him, I prayed that those words would continue to hold weight in his life. Because I don't know him, I don't know what's going on with him, but he heard words of encouragement from me. Words that made him feel good, put a smile on his face. Even in the sense of him just being the porter. I'm telling you, you guys got to understand the power of your presence. You got to understand the power of your presence. Stop thinking things are just happenstance and whatever. In this season, God has truly been showing me and getting me to a place of understanding of power, the power in my presence, who I am. And it heavily correlates with the love her. How can you go out here and quote unquote find and get booed up and get attached to someone to love you if you don't fully understand who you are? And one of the questions that's always asked, what do you bring to the table? What do you bring to the table? Baby, I am the table. What are you talking about? What do I bring to the table? I am the table. Next time somebody asks me that question, what do you bring to the table? I am the table. Now what? The table, the chairs, the silverware, the whole setup, the cups, glasses, the napkins, everything. Now what? Oh, you thought I was getting with you and coming to have a seat at your table? I'm the table. Because the table can exist whether you here or you not. Somebody better catch that freedom. Somebody better catch that freedom. You are the table, honey. What I bring to the table, what I look like, what I bring to the table. I am the table. Because I can exist. The love I have from God makes me enough, makes me complete, makes me fully functional with or without. And that's just one of the nuggets that I've learned during this Love Her edition. And that was worth the price of admission. It was worth the tears. It was worth the sacrifice. It was worth the confusion. It was worth it all to get to this point, to be able to say that. So that's it. That's all I got. I might lay down and close my eyes for like 20 minutes. I don't know. We gonna see. We gonna see. We gonna see. We gonna see what the brain needs. And yeah, and then we grow from there. So I will see you all tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on my YouTube channel, Shaniqua Inspires, for the next episode of the Black Girl Encourage Her Love edition. And we got a panel discussion. It's probably going to be I think it's about like an hour and a half. So give yourself some time, give yourself some grace. But definitely don't miss it. You don't want to miss it. And if you do have to miss it, right? Maybe you have to work or whatever the case may be. You have other obligations. I get it. I get it. I get it. Put it on your agenda to watch this weekend. It'll be definitely a good Friday night conversation if you need to watch it, but just make certain you do watch it. And if you're not subscribed, I don't know why. I don't know why you're not subscribed. Subscribe, share it out, tell your friends to subscribe, because you never know what they need. And you just might be the first responder. Okay. And you sharing it out might just give them something that they need. So let's go out today. Let's make certain that we are first responders and that we are operating in the full power of our presence. And don't let perimenopause win. Don't let her win. Not today. She had yesterday, but not today. Not today. Shaniqua has to be fully in control today. All right. So you all be blessed, and I will see you all tomorrow, God willing. Have a great rest of your day. Happy Thursday. Peace and blessings, love, and all of that good stuff to you. And I'll see you tomorrow, or I'll see you tonight. I'll see you tonight first, and then I'll see you tomorrow. Amen. All right. Talk to you all soon. Be blessed.